Welcome to Popcorn Chat. I'm Kurt Jarvis. This week, the three movies I will be reviewing for you are Act of Valor, Tyler Perry's Good Deeds, and Wanderlust. Let's start with Tyler Perry's Good Deeds, starring Tyler Perry. And you know that because his name's in the freaking title of the movie. Why is that necessary? I have not figured that out yet. I watched the entire movie and went, there's no point in having this in the movie. That's very, very annoying because it just makes Tyler Perry look like he's an egotistical asshole. The movie itself, it's just okay. And that's the best way to describe it. I mean, there are times where it seems like it might be heartfelt. The message is good, the message is positive, but when you put your name on a title of a movie, it should be like really better than that. I mean, I don't remember it being called Steven Spielberg's Schindler's List or Tom Hanks' Forrest Gump. I don't know. That just bothered me all day after watching that movie and going, oh, this movie isn't that good, and now you're just kind of looking like an egotistical jerk. So, I don't know. Part of the problem with the movie is it transitions from serious to funny, to poignant, to heartfelt. It's trying to hit so many emotions, and it takes so much time to set up for each of those emotions that it doesn't really follow a flow or a pattern of any kind. That's the biggest problem with it. It's like I said, it's an okay movie. If it was like a made-for-TV movie, it'd be really good, but it's not. It's in the movie theater, so it gets held to a higher standard, and it just didn't meet the standard, in my opinion. Let's move on to Act of Valor. Act of Valor, I went ahead and decided to do this one because it was getting an awful lot of buzz. The critics around the country have been pretty much trashing it, and audiences have been pretty much loving it, and the gap is huge. And who's right? Both of them are right. And that's not a cop-out. I'll explain what I'm talking about. First of all, the action scenes and the military scenes in this are absolutely freaking awesome. Okay? They really are. But you would expect that. Okay, for those of you who don't know what this is, Act of Valor is basically a movie about Navy SEALs. Okay? And they use real Navy SEAL soldiers to reenact the scenes. Okay? And that's all fine and dandy. The problem is, when it comes time to not have an action scene, you still have a bunch of Navy SEAL guys trying to act, and none of them can. And it kind of like, okay, can you just go back to shooting something because you're better at that? That's my problem with it. I mean, it's a really good, it's like a poster child movie for, the Navy SEALs, so it's kind of something fun they can pop in the DVD player when people go to sign up for recruiting purposes. And, and it's, like I said, it's badass on the action scene. It's just, it needed way more story. It needed way better acting. I'm convinced that anytime you let the stuntmen act, it's not going to be a very good movie. And that's exactly what the problem is with Act of Valor. It moves at breakneck speed, so there's nothing wrong there. Like I said, the action sequences, if you're just like a straight action person and you love a good action movie just for the action and you don't care about story, you're going to love Act of Valor. And we all know that there's a lot of those people out there, which is why it's got a very big, high favorability rate in this country. And again, like I said, it's kind of worth seeing if you like experimental movies. It's really an experiment. But it needed a lot more story. It needed a lot better acting. Knocking a cup off a table doesn't make you dramatic. It just makes you look like you knocked a cup off a table. I mean, it's whatever. So that's my biggest problem with Act of Valor. The third movie I'm going to be reviewing for you is Wanderlust, starring Jennifer Aniston and Paul Rudd. This movie is billed as a comedy, and for the most part, it is. My only complaint that I have about it is that they try to set the tone as a comedy, and they keep the energy up pretty good, and then when they sort of hit to where it's going to become a dramatic turn, it really drops in energy, big time, right about the middle to the last part of the movie. And they can't really capture it again. So overall, I liked Wanderlust. I thought it was very funny. I thought the characters were really good. I thought it was very well developed. It's not the greatest comedy ever. I mean, it's definitely one of Jennifer Aniston's best comedies because she's been in a lot of flops. So I'm happy to see her actually doing well because I like Jennifer Aniston. She just chooses really, really bad movies. And this time around, she chooses good. Paul Rudd is at his best. I mean, if you like Paul Rudd, this is vintage Paul Rudd. If you don't like Paul Rudd, you're just not going to like this movie. That's the bottom line. Because he really is the driving force behind the comedy. Although he's not the only funny character in it. In fact, there are 2 moments in the movie where it's just him. It's almost like a comedic monologue, if you will. and it holds well. It holds really well because Paul Rudd knows what he's doing. And also, it's a Judd Apatow film, so if you don't like Judd Apatow, he's the same guy that does, he did the Superbad, he did Knocked Up, so he did if you don't like those type of movies, then you're not going to like this. It's got a little bit of vulgarity issue in there, but, I like Judd Apatow. I think that his humor is interesting, and the best part about his humor is it's funny. But I think he's found a nice muse, if you will, with Paul Rudd. And so Wanderlust gets an approval rating for me. If you come back next week, I will have 2 more movies for you that I will be reviewing. One will be The Lorax, which it looks fantastic by the trailers, and the other one will be Project X, which looks like it's going to be really awesome or suck really bad. I can't tell which from the previews, so it'll be interesting to do that. Out on DVD this week that you need to see is Hugo. Yes, that was my pick to win all the Oscars, and of course it won a lot of them, but not the main ones. So if you haven't seen Hugo, your chance is now here. It's $1.20 in Redbox. You have no excuse not to see it now. And if you can't afford $1.20, why do you have the internet watching me? There's a question for you. So, come back next week. I'll do the Lorax Project. This week on video is Hugo. Until next week, I will see you here unless I see you at the movies.